What's going on, everybody? My name is GiraffeAnatomy, and this is another Smite Quick God Guide for Cernunnos, the Horned God, one of my favorite ADCs personally. And I know I say Quick God Guide, but sometimes they take 30 or 40 minutes. I apologize, but I just feel like sometimes I just need to say what needs to be said about these gods. The whole reason for these videos is basically to teach you guys about their abilities as quickly as I can, right? I'm still going over like a high level overview of them. I don't get too into like their stats and like their health and their mana and their damage versus like their other counterparts and things like that. And I don't get too deep into builds and stuff like that as well. I give you some items towards the end of the videos, but basically what I'm trying to do, the goal of these videos is just to explain their abilities as clear and concisely as I can, show you some gameplay footage of me doing some things so you guys can sort of emulate it, maybe take them into jungle practice and try it out yourself. So you, at the end of this video, are able to take this god into an arena, joust, conquest, slash, whatever game mode you want, and know what to do with their kit, right? That is the whole base of this video, is just to teach new players, or maybe not a new player, but if you're new to the god themselves, like you've never played them before, you start playing them and you're like, it feels kind of weird, I don't know how their kit works. That's what I'm trying to do here. So although it might take a while, it might be long-winded sometimes, I hope I'm just able to give you the necessary information that you need to get started with working with this god, learning them, and doing that kind of stuff. So what we'll do is we will get into jungle practice, and we will choose Cernunnos, and we will learn about his kit. So, Cernunnos, Cernunnos is a hunter in Smite. That means he is a ranged physical damage dealer. By ranged, he has basic attacks that are much further than like the melee gods and things like that, right? So he does a lot of damage with his basic attacks. His kit and everything is just built around that as well, and you'll normally build him with attack speed, power, and you'll choose either like crit or penetration depending on what the meta is at the time and things like that. But what I'm going to do is I will go through his kit because it is a little bit unique with his passive and the way his one works and everything like that. So what I'll do is I'll level everything up here. And then we will go over his abilities here, right? So as you can see, he's a ranged physical damage dealer. He's almost always played as an ADC. You can jungle with him if you're feeling saucy and you want to do some meme jungle builds and stuff like that. But you see him mostly as an ADC, a hunter, you know, a carry there. So let's talk about Cernunnos' passive called Heavy Glade, and then we'll get into his abilities. The Cernunnos wields a glaive as a weapon. His basic attacks deal additional damage to all enemies in melee range while he's throwing it. The additional damage from Heavy Glaive does not trigger any effects from items or abilities. It also cannot critical strike. So really, the most important thing that this is used for is basically clearing wave or clearing jungle buffs. When it comes to this, right? His glaive basically does like a cleave. See all those little 18s? How I'm damaging one enemy, but they're all getting damaged? That's basically what his glaive does. Does additional damage. It's really good for clearing and doing that extra damage to enemies within that melee range, right? So you're able to clear multiple things at once. And this is why he can kind of be flexed into a jungle if you're really feeling saucy, if you want to get into it. Basically, if you have a buff, so he'll most likely be clearing purple buff. See how I'll be doing damage to the ones to the right and the left of me, even though I'm not hitting them? This kind of helps you just clear them easier. So it can be, once he builds enough power and attack speed, can be used to clear jungle buffs really fast and things like that, right? It won't crit, like it says, and it's only doing 20% of your basic attack damage, but if your basic attack damage and power is high, you'll still be doing damage to multiple people, multiple gods, multiple minions. It's all enemies within melee range of that. So yeah, It does not trigger any effects from item and abilities. The additional damage doesn't, right? So you can only be applying it to one person at a time if you have something like a Frostbound equipped or something like that as well. So let's get into Cernunnos' first ability, called the Shifter of Seasons. This is what makes him so unique. Cernunnos imbues his glaive with the power of the 4 seasons. Activating this ability rotates him through the 4 seasons and gives a different bonus for each season to his basic attacks, right? So the green spring growth is bonus physical lifesteal. The summer heat is bonus damage. Autumn decay is a debuff for 7 seconds, and winter chill slows for 1 second, right? And it'll tell you all the stats. So as you level this up, they become greater and greater. Spring growth starts at a 5% lifesteal, caps out at 15. Summer heat starts at a 5% bonus damage, caps out at 25, right? Autumn decay 10 to 26 reduce in protections, and then winter chill starts as a 7% slow, goes to 15% slow. You basically press his one, it never has a cooldown, but you can cycle through these seasons, right? And you can do this anytime you want. This doesn't activate any like ability things, like I said, right? It's not like you're using an ability. You're just, when you press one, you just cycle through this stuff, and you can see what season you're in here. So this is winter, right? And he changes as it goes on, and some of his skins do too, right? This is the lifesteal one. This is the bonus damage one. This is the autumn, right? The debuff, and this is the slow. Now, if you notice, if I hit him with the slow, see how he's getting slowed? You're basically like consistently applying a debuff to an enemy, and because of this, you can use certain items really well with Cern. Things that synergize with like applying a slow, or things that synergize with lifesteal or a power, and you basically want to use these as you see fit within a in a team fight, right? More often than not, if you're confused or you don't know how to use this when you're first starting out with him, keep it on springtime and just leave it at that. Give yourself an extra bit of lifesteal, and you can leave it. Maybe put it on autumn if you want a little bit extra damage, right? Normally the lifesteal one it's just very simple to have lifesteal and use it, and it'll have you sustain in lane, and you can kind of like set it and forget it a lot of times, and it'll help you out in the team fights and things like that. Having that extra, depends on where you are with the level, but 5 to 15% bonus lifesteal. You basically want to change it to winter when you're chasing down an enemy if they're running away from you, and you want to slow them enough to get a couple extra hits on them, right? This is definitely more for like a chase down tool, when you're trying to just confirm that kill. Obviously this is the lifesteal. Like I normally start my fights, I'll start my fights in like power first, and then switch to the lifesteal one in the middle of it once I get around like 3/4 health, to try and like start lifestealing through any sort of jockeying that I'm doing. But yeah, the power one I would say is very useful for trying to clear certain things, and also obviously you're getting that extra like power, so you can start a fight with this and really start chunking some people, right? And then once you do that initial damage, if they're running away from you and they're getting away, change it to here, right? Change it to the 3 to slow them, and then if they're starting to do some damage to you and you really want to be safe about it, you can switch back to the lifesteal and stuff. The protection debuff, sometimes you can kind of roll through these, right? You can do like 1, 2, do the autumn debuff, go back to lifesteal, right? You're going to get the hang of it over time on which one you kind of want. If you're versing a tank, it's good to just kind of like roll into autumn first, right? Get that debuff, and then you can roll like into the lifesteal if they're like up in your face, right? So if you're versing like their warriors or their front lines, that's kind of when you use autumn. So yeah, there's a lot of versatility, right? It kind of gives Cernunnos this edge when it comes to like fighting 1v1 potential, like that kind of stuff. You have this little tool in your back pocket all the time where you can just switch it to something that you need. If it's hard to keep an eye on this, just look at his color, right? And that can help you out, right? I'm colorblind, and I can even tell most of the time which stance I'm in, right? The worst ones are the last two for me, or well, these 3 kind of, but I can still even tell, like I know this one, and I can tell where I am basically based off of like this one. I know that's autumn, and then I know the winter's the blue one, so I'll go back to springtime. You just kind of keep it in your head. You'll learn it over time. But yeah, and you can cycle through as you basic attack if you really want, right? You can be doing like all different kinds of things to them. I normally don't recommend that. I normally like trying to like apply, like if you want a consistent slow, do that. Get that consistent life steal. Okay, finish them off, a couple power shots, they're dead, right? Like that kind of thing. So that's kind of how you want to keep it in your mind. You'll get used to it the more you play with him. So let's talk about his second ability. It's called Bramble Blast. Cernunnos fires a bramble forward in a line that roots and cripples a single enemy hit. Upon hitting an enemy wall or reaching the max range, it will explode, dealing damage and spawning an area of brambles in that location. This area deals damage every 0.5 seconds and persists for 5 seconds, right? So you're going to do the initial damage if you hit somebody with it. Then you're going to do the area damage, which is if they're walking around in it. You also get a root and cripple duration if you hit them with it. So first of all, I'll show you without the root and cripple. This is what it looks like. If you hit them, it'll do the damage. They'll just be able to walk around, do whatever they want, right? But if they walk through it, they're going to take that tick damage. Now, if you hit the god directly, you get that root and the cripple. This is really great when it comes to locking down somebody. You can use it in conjunction with your ult to kind of confirm it a little bit easier. But basically what happens is when you hit somebody with it, see how they'll stop? So they basically get rooted and they can't use a movement ability until that, root and cripple is done, right? So they're stuck in place. They're not able to jump out or do anything like that for like a second there, right? So sometimes it enables you to get some things off. You can use it in conjunction with your ult. I'll show you kind of how to do that like a little bit later. But yeah, it's really great when you're attacking somebody and you're able to just keep them in place for a couple hits, right? And then they're stuck. It's a great area like denial tool. This is going to be your main clearing thing when you go and clear waves. One thing you want to do, you want to try and get to the right side of these guys so you hit everybody with it so you can clear the wave. But if you're able to do this, it's big enough to get all of these minions at once. See how it's ticking, right? You're going to want to try and get the whole wave with it, because if you can do that, you'll be able to clear the wave super fast. You'll be able to have wave pressure and everything like that in lane using it. You can also use it as an area denial tool. If a jungle's coming to gank you or something, you can use it to cut things off on like the right or the left side of the jungle. You can also use it if you're jockeying and you're see how I'm like still doing that glaive damage to all these guys. You can use it as like a denial tool if they're hanging out on the right side. You can do this to grab the back minions and kind of push them out so they can't clear the wave. You can clear the front wave with your glaive while your back wave, the back side of the wave is getting cleared by your bramble. So it enables you to really clear and like basically own the lane and control what's happening, right? So if they're hanging out on the right side, I can basically do this. I can get them with that initial burst damage when I do it too. It's clearing the back, I'm clearing the front. By the time we're done, I just have a couple minions left. They're pushed out too far to really clear my wave fast enough. Now I have wave pressure. I can move up on them. I can start, attacking them, poking them out a little bit as the wave kind of goes on. So it's really great. It's also really great at like helping you clear the buffs. So with this and with your glaive, right, doing that extra damage, you're able to clear jungle camps pretty fast. So he is an effective farmer as a hunter. You can be going in, stealing their void buff, getting your purple buff, right? Stealing their purple buff, getting yours, doing all the little camps and stuff like that. You'll be able to do really effectively with him. And he has sustain. While you're doing that, you can life steal off of everything, right? It's built into your kit. So even if you don't have something like Aussie or Dev Gauntlet right off the bat, you're able to still like life steal a little bit early on, and then gain some of that health back while you're in lane. So yeah, that's the basics of this. Let's get into his 3 called Horn Charge. Cernunnos charges forward, damaging and crashing through all types of enemies, right? Seems pretty simple at first. It's literally just a line ability. When you press it, he dashes. I have mine on instant cast. That's how I like to play Cern. I'll basically like turn. I know where I'm going because of this line here that I have here. So I could basically like do this, turn around real quick, get out of danger as fast as possible. If it's not an instant cast, you'll see like a little bit of a line there. But where this really can come into play is with Cern. You can auto attack cancel with it. And if you do it right, you can basically like get an extra auto in while you're using it, right? And so it'll do damage going through somebody, but you're able to auto attack cancel with it as well. As your mechanics grow, I know this is a beginner guide, so it's probably somebody new that hasn't played Cern a lot. As your mechanics grow, you'll learn how to use things like this. See how fast that second glaive came out? You can basically like dash and stop your dash. You have to basically like double press it or press it right click like really fast to cancel it before you do your full dash. But see how I got 2 glaives out at once? This can be used very easily to like win a fight, like come out, because in the end game your basics are going to be doing like 400, 500, 600 damage if you build like crit and stuff. Doing something like this to finish an enemy off if you're like 1v1ing them and you just do like a, oh, I did not cancel it fast enough, my bad. Being able to get that extra like dun dun out with your autos is like very important. Now, I'm not the best player in the world. I don't claim to be. I'm pretty like mediocre. I'm probably like average in terms of like Smite players. There are many players that are much better than me. So look up auto canceling if you want to start getting into something like that. But it is something that you can do with him, with his dash, right? I'll try and do it one more time. You basically have to press the ability and right click like as soon as you press it to cancel the dash, right? So as you can see, and you want to time it. So you basically like, as your auto is flying, you do it to get another auto out. So you're basically autoing, auto. See how it's like, that's basically getting like an extra basic attack in to auto cancel with it. So just something that it is unique to him as a hunter. Like some other like hunters can do things like that with their abilities, but Cernunnos is really, really good at it because you can cancel his dash, right? Auto, auto, auto. You feel the pace of this, right? Auto, 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 auto. Like you can get a second one in a little bit faster. So that'll definitely catch people off guard and maybe like win you a fight when you're like eking it out there. So let's talk about Cernunnos' ult called the Wild Hunt. Cernunnos selects an area where the Wild Hunt will begin after a 1 second delay, and it is channeled, and you can get stunned out of this, and it's happened to me many times. Very unfortunate. After a 1 second delay, enemies in the area will be damaged and gods will be polymorphed into wild boars. Polymorphed gods are silenced, disarmed, and slowed. Polymorph is not affected by diminishing returns, right? So it's always going to be a 2 second polymorph duration. When they are polymorphed, they're basically like free game for you to auto because they can't use their abilities. They can't like auto attack you, and they're slowed. I will show you what this looks like, right? You can hit multiple gods with this. This is what it looks like, and you'll see this 1 second channel. Then they'll turn into boars, and you'll see them do their thing, right? So after that, they're boars. During those 2 seconds, that's when you want to try and get off as many autos on them as possible, and they will be slowed. Because it's channeled, you want to try and it's not as good sometimes as a getaway tool, because a lot of the times you're going to be like stunned or silenced out of it before the channel is complete. So if you're running away, there is the option, right? If you're dealing with a ton of crap, right, there's the option to just do this, turn them into boars, and like run away, right? It's definitely an option that you can use. You want to use it normally more aggressively than that. And what I find myself doing is I will try to either preemptively figure out where they're going to be, do it, and then hit them with the stun so that they are definitely like trapped in there. So trying to hit my Bramble as that's channeling, right? And then that way they're hit by like both at the same time. It's like a huge amount of burst damage. Or try and hit your Bramble and then do it, right? So you can hit your Bramble, then do it. By the time the Bramble's done, normally they can't get out unless they have a movement ability or a leap or something to like jump out of it, right? So that's kind of how you set up with his 2 and his ultimate, right? You're normally saving your dash to either confirm a kill, like dash towards them or through them to do the damage, or to run away, right? And you can use it to like, you know, if you're doing this and you're with somebody and you need to get out, you can kind of like turn the tables on them with something like this. Oh, I pressed my alt by accident. Hold on a second. So you normally want to maybe try and turn on them, right? If your tower is behind you and you need to get out, you can kind of use your Bramble and your dash and dash through them to still do the damage and get away from them, right? You can do something like that to escape, or just use it as a regular dash, right? Just turn around, dash away. Makes him very safe because he can dash. It happens like pretty fast and stuff like that. Or you can use it as the confirm, right? If they're getting low, you're able to do this, right? You dash through them, hit those autos when you can, and you're good to go. So yeah, so that's basically what you want to do. You want to time the 1 second channel of his ultimate to sort of coincide with your 2 if you get the chance, right? You can use it just to pop it for the damage. It does a lot of damage, 400 once it's fully maxed, plus any sort of like extra power and stuff that you have. So you can just use it to like confirm a kill. As long as they're in this circle, they're gonna die. But being able to do that, like combine it with your 2, it's probably the most effective way to really start confirming damage, because as soon as they're polymorphed and stuff, they're not gonna be doing anything, and they're gonna get like rooted and stuff. So yeah, really effective way to do burst damage with him. That's about it. Like when it comes to his kit, it's pretty simple. The most complex thing is his 1 and just choosing what you want to be in when you want to be in it. Let's talk a little bit about builds that are really good on Cernunnos, and then we'll talk about kind of how they can play into here. So Cernunnos likes to build lifesteal because of his springtime in his glaive. You're getting 15% with this. If you build something else with like another 15%, that's already 30 by itself. But if you build something like Dev Gauntlet, that'll stack, or like even something like Aussie, like it's really good. So he likes to have Death Toll on him just for the sustain. Even if you're going crit, Death Toll is a good item, because this plus your Springtime Glaive is going to give you a lot of sustain in lane. You're going to be able to just attack minions and like never really be down in health or mana, right? So just having Death Toll is a really good start with him. You can do something like Gilded Arrow if you want. I think Death Toll upgrading to, you can upgrade to either of these. They're both really, really good on him. If they're not building an anti-heal at all, Death's Embrace, you'll like never die. You'll literally never die late game with Death's Embrace plus like a Dev Gauntlet, or like an Aussie or something like that, and his Springtime. You'll be able to out heal tons of people just like chunking at them, right? So yeah. Death's Temper, if they do go lifesteal or anti-heal, you can get something like Death's Temper at the end and still do like a ton of damage with him. I like Death's Temper a lot. Getting that 30% attack speed plus getting that basic attack damage. You're able to clear minions pretty easily with like your 2. So you're able to clear minions, get those stacks, start doing that in a team fight, anything you need really, and then you'll just start like running people down with either of these upgrades on him. He does like to go Dev Gauntlet. He's one of those gods that still utilizes it very well because of the way this stacks, right? So if you stack Dev Gauntlet, when it's fully stacked, you basically have 25% lifesteal, 70 physical power. You add his glaives, you know, up to 15 once it's fully upgraded, plus the passive of Death's Toll, right? You're just going to heal so much with your basic attacks with just these items, which is why he likes these things so much, right? So I just like to show you, right? With 2 items, I'm like, look at how much I'm healing just with these 2 to go on you. Like I'm not going down in health at all, and I'm just like holding left click, right? So this is me in springtime, just hanging out, right? If you don't want to go Dev Gauntlet, you can build something like a Transcendence Aussie build, or if you want to go a full attack speed build, you can start with something like Atalanta's Bow. So personally, lately, I have been going the Atalanta's Aussie, and then I will get Wind Demon or Shadow Steel, depending on who I'm versing. Wind Demon, if I am, if they don't have like a lot of healers on the other team, if they have a lot of healers, I'll go Shadow Steel Shuriken. As soon as I'm done with this, I will get Pen, which will be Silver Branch Bow. I just get it for the 20% pen in general, right? With something like this, not because I'm going to be over capping it or anything right now, but it's literally just the stats. So you have enough crit here, you have enough percent pen, you have your healing with Aussie, which is the 15% physical lifesteal plus the Death Toll. You'll still be fine with something like this. And then you're getting the extra lifesteal from Atalanta's Bow with Aussie. So you'll have enough lifesteal with him to kind of cover what that Dev Gauntlet would be giving you. And then after this, you're basically just getting more attack speed at the end of this. So some attack speed item. Sometimes you can go something like Deathbringer. If you're like really far ahead, you want to just make those crits even beefier. You're not really looking to try and overcap Silver Branch anyway, so getting something like Deathbringer is fine. But if you want to try and overcap that, you can get something with more pen, or you can even get like a kin size, or more attack speed. Like you can even get like another Wind Demon here just to make your crits more consistent. And then after you do something like this, you'll have a lot of pen, and you're just waiting to upgrade into the 30% attack speed for Death's Temper. This will start giving you those caps on the Silver Branch bow, and as you get stacks on Death's Temper with a build like this, you will be hitting even harder, and that Silver Branch will be stacking. So you see how fast he's attacking. Once you get those Death Temper stacks, you just kick the crap out of anybody, right? With a build like this. So this is a build that you can do on him. Like I said, you're getting enough pen through just the passive on Wind Demon plus Silver Branch. If you're having trouble, and you don't think like the attack speed on Death's Temper will help, getting something like Death's Embrace will be more lifesteal, right? If they aren't building anti-heal at all for some reason, don't know why they wouldn't be, but if they aren't building anti-heal, if you build a build like this, your health won't go down. Like Death's Embrace coupled with the lifesteal from Atalanta's bow and Aussie and your Glaives 1, like you will heal through most things, right? So I'll just show you, like it doesn't go down at all. I'll even show you here. Something like Fire Giant, when you're doing this late game, like I'm getting knocked up by him, and then I'm just healing right back up. Like you're able to basically just solo a Fire Giant with a build like this. You're going to heal so much with Death's Embrace. If they don't build anti-heal, like you will out heal everybody that you're versing as long as you're hitting your autos and things like that, right? So that's basically what you want Death's Embrace for versus Death's Temper. I'll show you kind of like the difference, right? I know I have the buff on, so I have more power because of it. You still heal a lot with Death's Temper too, but you won't heal as much. You can see how I'm not healing as much with Death's Temper, but I do kill it faster because I'm doing more damage, right? With that 30%. Plus, once you get it stacked and stuff, it's going to be doing more damage. So these are some builds that you can like build on him. I highly recommend this build. Very good on him. It's crit, it's attack speed, it's either healing or more damage if you want, depending on which one you go, right? If you're not going to do something like this and you want to go the traditional like Dev Gauntlet build, I normally recommend still getting like something like Death's Toll, right? And then Dev Gauntlet right off the bat, and you can start stacking it. Once you get this stacked, you can do something like a Crusher. You can skip Aussie because Dev Gauntlet's giving you that 25% plus the Death's Toll passive, right? And your Springtime 1, you're going to be healing enough. At this point, you can do things like Crusher. You can build like your Executioner or your Kin size right off the bat, right? Crusher's good on him just because of your Bramble. You take a lot of damage from that. You have a lot of poke with a Crusher, and it still gives you attack speed, right? So you're still getting your attack speed in. You're doing much more damage. I've seen people start Death's Toll Crusher and then they get Dev Gauntlet, or Death's Toll Crusher and then get Aussie or something like that, right? So you can do something like this. This will give you the flat pen that you want. Executioner is good on him. Kin size would be good here. So either of these is really good. If you're building like a pen build on him, get this kin size. And then from here, you basically have your choices of either doing like more damage. You can like add an Executioner on top of like the kin size here. You want some sort of pen, right? Executioner is going to start giving that to you. And you can even like throw in like a random Wind Demon, and even though you're not going to crit very often, when you do, you're going to get that passive for 4 seconds that's going to increase your physical pen or something like that. You can do other things like you can build, I mean, Iqbal's like okay, but you can still build Silver Branch, get even more pen out of it and stuff. This is like a good penetration build. Even something like Odysseus Bow wouldn't be too bad, but you normally want to build that when you're like overcapping Silver Branch a lot, more than anything like this. So yeah, with this build, you're going to heal a lot. You can build like something more high powered like Blood Forge, something like that with a build like this, right? So yeah, that's the basics of Cernunnos, and like just some simple ways to build him and things like that. If you guys haven't already, feel free to join our Discord server. We run a Smite learning Discord server called the Smite Dojo. There are people much better than I am in there that are mentors. They can help you out with questions. They're like diamond and masters level when it comes to like playing ranked and stuff like that. And we have people that play in leagues like AGL and stuff that can help you guys out when it comes to learning. We do one-on-one sessions. If you just want to play games and like hang out and meme build and stuff, we do that too. So don't think it's like a super serious server where you have to be like good to join or whatever. It's a learning server. We'll teach you. If you don't know how to play Conquest, just say, hey, I've never really played Conquest before, guys. I kind of want to get into it. Can somebody play with me and kind of show me like what to do in the lane, or tell me what to do or when to rotate and stuff? Like, we do that stuff with you guys, and we don't judge. We've all been there before. We've had bad games. We've tried new gods that we don't know how to play, like all those things, right? So you want to create a nice toxic free environment where you're able to play. You can have bad games. It's fine. We're all here to have fun, enjoy the game, learn more about it, and get better. The best way to get better is just to play it more. And if you can play it more with other people that are kind of like-minded, it really helps and makes the game much, much more fun to play, right? So that's the environment we're trying to foster there. Also, subscribe to my channel here because I will be doing a video for every single god. Still on the C's with Cernunnos. Eventually, we'll get to the Z's. That'll be the day. I can't wait. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And hey, have a great day.